Hello and welcome to Geekatplay Studio tutorial. In this tutorial we'll continue looking on a function editor. So let's access on an object our function editor. And what we're going to look right now, it is on a filter node. So example, if you don't have it, we'll have it. Let's switch this to the color map. We'll just click anywhere on a screen and we'll go to look like integral. Click on this. This will be our filter, and by default it will select the filter. Let's connect it. And normally what's happened with a preset filter, okay, like here we can preview these colors. You can see this just applied take our noise node and applying by passing filter. This is by default filter, it doesn't make any effect at all. To modify, we can go edit, or if you just double click, you can open the library of preset filters. It's where you can save your own or create brand new. And it's actually quite a bit big collections, and they separate based on your terrain. If you want to do like cave or some other ones like steps, and we'll look in a second on those filters. Also time spline, and for example this one random we was using for creating light, flickering light. It's higher, lower, on, off, or other things. So for example, if we select one, you can see how that's applied to the filter. So you can see preview on this one, and it will affect your final result. Also we can go reset the filter. If you want edit, let's go just right click, select edit filter, and you can resize, which is nice. Also now you have at your highest, lowest value, and also on the color. So we can go decrease, and you can see we decrease our highest value. We won't have it. Okay, let's look right here. This is, for example, our highest. We have it purple, blue, and go green, yellow. So what we're doing right now in this filter, we're decreasing. So we're decreasing the purple. And if we're going, for example, create this way, you can see we have it more in a purple. So you're manipulating what values more you want to go in. And by the way, to create additional point, you need just click on any place you want to place it. Click new key and it will create it. You also can just click anywhere right here and it will create, go down and it will create new key right here. Okay. So you don't necessarily just need click on line. Also, if you just double time click, it will create point. Anyway, you can click double time and you can see it will create point for you. By default, the lines is linear, so they kind of have sharp angles. To switch to the smooth one, we go to the curve and enable our curve. You can notice now we have two kind of arrows, and it's allowed us to adjust the angle of the smoothness. Sometimes also what's happening when you do this, it's become a little bit points too close and hard to see. If you press down Control button and right button mouse, you have this zoom, so you can zoom in and out. Also, if you just press right button, you can move around and hold the right button. You can move around and preview, so you can go very close to the filter. And now you can adjust here even more. So give it higher details. Okay, also you can zoom out by using presets plus or minus, or reset all zoom and just fill up all window. Okay, next in a key point you can create by using key point if you just type in all values. Okay, slopes, if you notice, it is how smoothness applied, so you can actually use it by numeric, put it in and out. Clamp mode is similar what we had before. We look on this, continue, mirror, or repeat it. Continue, it will just go in the same direction. Okay, also you notice right here we have icons which enable, and this is two. One is after tangents and one is the movement, and those will be enabled only when is smooth curve. So when you have it linear, they disable. And what's happening when this enable? Every added point will automatically have it smoother. Its system will try to adjust to create smooth angles. So they want to have it sharp angles when this is enabled. Okay, after tangent is will compute automatically on a new to provide us less effect or is possible on the curve. So if you notice when we create it, it's kind of affecting nicely, and when we turn it off, you can have it sometimes very sharp, right? Okay, let's move. You can see we can have it very sharp corners, and when it's enabled, it's try to make as less impact on a curve as possible. And this is an additional tool if you want to have it very interesting effect. You maybe want to disable if you want to have it like sharp, but if you're going for the smooth timeline, animation, or color, you probably want to enable this. It will help you to have this smooth, nice line. Also, some filters will have it influence of the environment tab enable, and it's actually depend on what you're using for, and it's self-explanatory. The one is depend on altitude, and if you enable this, what's happening, your filter will be affected by altitude. Also same for the slope and same for the orientation. So you can see how we put it in as will already affecting, very interesting. And those ones you probably can use it when you create fire effect. So you can create very, you can see already how we can affect this as effect. Okay, so here's our, can apply a little bit more and create more curves on this one. Okay, also we have two more icon right here, and one is as a grid. So what's happening when we enable grid, you can see we have it lines, and it's help you to arrange when you need, for example, bring this one closer and you want to bring another one the same about high. And magnet, what it does, it's allowed these points to snap. So when you start moving, you can feel your the points, the kind of snapping, kind of magnetic stick to these curves. Okay. Okay, and this is all about these filters. But again, by using and affecting this, we're using this all the time for terrain. And let's actually look on the terrain. So here we have our object. Let's delete it. And we'll just create normal terrain. We'll go edit this object. Also, if you remember, in this object we have it options, and we have it the similar filters right here. So one you can apply for materials or terrain. An example, if we go to altitude, edit filter, and very, very similar. So this tool actually used quite a bit in a view. So we created, for example, go straight, plateau, drop down. Maybe we have a road going on the middle right here. Like created the altitude, click OK, and you notice it's what we created, distribution for ours. So again, this is, you can do a lot of with the filters. You can color distribution, you can affect terrain. We're using quite a bit in clouds, in almost everywhere, and that one is one of the most used probably in Function Editor. Okay, let's look next. We'll create another object and we'll go to our Function Editor. Okay, and before we look more, let's replace our constant with a noise filter. We'll also replace our colors with a rainbow color. You can preview easy. Okay, one next on a filter, if you look above, we have it environment sensitive. First is will be our altitude, and altitude will preset level of the how filter will pass, and you can set where level, its filter will return 0, and this is set by your influence. And also minimum affected altitude and maximum, so you can increase or decrease the level where the filter will return 0. And this is actually another ways you can have altitude influence on your materials when you're creating, or maybe on a terrain when you want just specific type of the filter of the noise or any other things, noise or fractal or anything affecting. So you can use the altitude environmental to set this. Also we have a slope, which is doing exactly the same, only on not the horizontal, it's horizontal and vertical slope way. Both of them, altitude and slope. Orientation, it's XYZ. Environment, which combine both the altitude, slope and orientation together. Patches, the patches is very unique and very interesting to use. You can see that is create uniform automatically unique patches on horizontal areas, so it won't affect the side on this. But again, you can define size of the patches, height of the what filter will pass by, the return, also the noisiness, and of course the transit speed and surface noise. And those ones best if you just create terrain, and maybe we'll do this. So let's go just delete one, create new terrain. Okay, also let's, because we have a filter, just reset our filter. Okay, we'll just pre-create a couple things. Let's go right here, add maybe some bronze color. We'll go to environment and we'll select patches. Okay. And you can see how we can increase transition. So I want to add this a little bit smoother right here, transition between them. Maybe decrease a little bit size. Right, noisiness. Okay, take our main camera. And here you see how the patches will apply on the top on the horizontal ones, with some areas with a different type of the coloring based on what filter is passing by. Okay, and in some cases when you start creating maybe like grassland or other things and you want interesting covering, this is very nice filter to use for that. Okay, so let's go to our next. Filter. Okay, and our next one, it will be partial filter. And this one a little bit about same as before filter, only what you can do, you can manipulate with the filter ratio. And of course this one is can be also as well function, it can be affected by the additional function. So example, if we have it different altitudes or different colors, we can easy affect. Okay, let's go right here and you can see how much we can affect on this filter. Okay, let's load it so we can preview. It's almost like the blending on the ratio on them. Again, these colors we can affect in let me click. You can even connect to the time and be sure they're kind of smooth changing in a time from one filter to another. If you want to create chameleon kind of look or nicer maybe waves or other things, or you can also just create additional, just connect that way. So this is probably part of this way you want to kind of experiment with this, see if you really like to do this, or you just start playing around. But it is similar with filter. So we just only have it now manipulation available to us. Okay, next one will be offset, and offset is very nice to use in combination with other effects. For example, when we use it ecosystem, and probably if you check our tutorial ecosystem 3D, it's where we start populating with the rocks, and by using offset we can say specify where you want it placing, so we kind of spread them out. Same when you do like with camera close-up, you can use offset, and by the slider have it -1 to 1, but actually you can type more, and it will be even on this, because it's a clamp, so it will go to this color. But if you want it, if you're using in different like height or other things, that will take this value as well. So how I say, it's what we did before. The opposite, it's another way, is inverse. So you can see when we have it one way and now white and black, and when we inverse, now we have it black and black. It's opposite. It's all it does. It's inversing the signal. Next we have it multiply, and again, this is take value. If it's 1, it's multiplied by 2. We also use this one in other functions when we need it really make more dramatic effect of the image. Also, this will help you to add contrast to your function, and you can see how they're affecting. So if we're going like to 1, this will be exactly the same. You can preview. And now if we're increasing maybe to 4, you can see how the contrast added to this, and the signal is passing more. Okay, this is by itself function. It doesn't do that, filter doesn't do that much, but it's combination with other ones. This is another, we use it quite a bit of the offset, opposite, and multiply. The same brightness and contrast. On those filters, it is similar what we had before, except now you can control the what amount and multiplication, how much you want to multiply that signal. Okay, next is Parabolic, and this is more complex filter. I don't actually use that one yet, so I'm looking in a way where we can use it, but it's create more complex based on a math formula, and you can actually preview here. Next is absolute, and actually what this one does, it is mirror it when it's passed over threshold. So in some case you can manipulating with the repeating on this. So imagine that threshold is line from which one you take in signal. Contrast, it's your multiplier, and this is tell what line when you start to reverse the input. Okay, let's go to the gamma, and this one will apply to gamma correction. Same for the base, it will apply the correction base, and the gain will apply the power for the gain, the signal. Okay, next we have our power. What's happening, it is actually calculating between input value and the lower clip, and exponent this based on whatever you set value. So you can set what is your minimum was, and it will increase based on how we preset. Okay, next we have it Gaussian, and it's what happened. It takes signal and it's passed to the pass through the Gaussian curve, and it's make a little bit smoother look. And again, you have control contrast and threshold. That's what you set it. In another case, think about this filter. You preset how much you want to pass of the signals, and just moving out. It's similar to absolute, just only create a little bit smoother arch. Okay, next we have the clamp, and actually what clamp did, it's a set like edge where you can pass the signal, so you can preset the minimum and upper clamp, and you just almost set limits on your filter. Okay, next is a clip. Clip is the same as a clamp, now only you have the contrast and brightness as well to manipulate with. Okay, smooth clip, it is similar as the clamp before, now only the curve is smoother, it's not sharper. Okay, let's go to the map now. And this is actually what it does. It's a mapped input range values to the output range values. And we use this one, for example, when we create foam, if you remember, for the sea or water. And you set the range, and it's actually what it does. It will take this range and it's map it, your values, to values they specify here. And also, like on another one, if your lower value is higher than upper, what this will does is just invert them. Okay, let's go now to smooth map. Smooth map is a similar what we had before. It's only curve, not sharp again. It's a smoother curve on this one. Quantize. It will convert input values to the discrete values. On another case, you can say it's like polarize, I think in Photoshop, or solarize. So you can preset how many steps you want it. And again, you control your contrast value, your brightness. You can add more steps, you can see more gradients now we added. Or we can go down to have it only just 2 gradients. Okay, let's go to the saw wave. It's actually create like saw teeth parent. So what is happening when it's go from -1 to 1, and when it's reach 1, it jump back to -1. So you have almost like a saw tip kind of filter applying to this. Okay, absolute wave, and it's similar to a saw wave, only except it doesn't jump back, it just mirrored the signal. Okay, scene wave, and this one is similar to absolute wave. It's only avoided the sharper edges by creating smoother filter. And this is almost all of them. And again, those ones is kind of hard to remember for you right now. So the best probably if you try to go and play around and see how it affects. And in other tutorials, when we go to more practical use, you see how combination of those filters can apply and bring interesting result. Okay, and thank you for watching this tutorial from Geekatplay Studio. Please come visit us on the web at www.geekatplay.com.